This is In the Final Analysis.
Welcome to an In the Final Analysis Minisode. Here is your host and financial advisor for Wisdom Financial Management, Joe Frederick, and I am the media support manager, Kylie. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Kylie, how we doing this week?
So far, so good. Excited
Good.
to talk to you today.
Yeah.
We're excited because we are going to talk about on today's podcast, as part of our generational investment finance 101 topics, retirement investing for Gen X.
Yeah.
And for anyone who doesn't know, Gen Xers are people born between like the mid 60s to about like 1980. They have gone through a few other names as well, like the MTV generation or latchkey generation or forgotten generation.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's kind of true. I feel like Gen X gets kind of frequently, undiscussed and looked past in favor of the like vast social divides between baby boomers and millennials and Gen Z. Um, but this critical mid generation like has lived through so much intense change throughout their lives. And I personally have found like by and large, they're pretty moderate individuals compared to their parents who are boomers and the silent generation, and their children who are like the younger millennials and most of Gen Z. Um, Kind of in terms of like technological dependency and sociopolitical issues and financial stability, and stuff like that. So they're like solidly middle aged now, and many of them are coming up very quickly on the point of retirement. So, Joe, I want to get started by asking you what kind of retirement landscape is Gen X looking at now and into the next decade?
Yeah. Well, they're like as you said, they're very interesting in where they're at from a landscape standpoint. But because a lot of them are out there saying, at this point, like I said, that big gap, they're like, well, a lot of them are saying we'll never be able to retire. You know, uh, Gen X's were saying, they would. A lot of them want to say, hey, we wanted to retire at 60. That's not going to happen. But yeah, the landscape for them has really changed because they're the first generation that has to basically provide for themselves in their own retirement. They're the first of the 401k plan where companies stop doing pensions or, defined contribution programs and things like that, that were stopped. So they were put in a situation, first and foremost of, hey, we've got to do our own retirement, and with that, there's reports out there and studies that like 40% of Gen X are not, yeah, haven't even started for retirement, have basically no savings. So, that's a significant number, for them. And obviously the volatility we've had over the last couple of years and everything, inflation is a big thing. Um, Healthcare cost is going to be huge for this generation because depending on where they're at with their savings and everything, that's a big thing. And obviously, it comes up for every generation. Social Security,
Of course.
a lot of Gen Xers are relying, thinking, okay, I'll have Social Security there. I can rely on that, and I can cut everything out of my lifestyle or whatever I need to, for that to cover my expenses. And that's kind of where, some of them are at. So it creates a lot of anxiety for them with where they're at and counting on Social Security. So there's a lot there. It's a big mix, and um, there's a lot, a lot to for them to do, I guess, in simple terms, and to look at. But that's kind of the landscape of where they're at right now.
So looking ahead into that, how might Gen Xers kind of prepare to start like cashing out investments for retirement life and getting themselves set up?
Yeah, well, obviously with there's a lot of things they can do, but majority, if you're in retirement type of things like a 401k or a Roth or a Roth IRA, any of those type of things, whether you have it with your company or you've done it on your own in savings, you can't really move it until you're 59 and a half. Or start taking it out without any penalty. If you try to take it out before that, there's a penalty for taking it out, usually 10% before 59 and a half, plus paying the taxes on it and everything that you would have to pay on the deferred taxes. But once they start to get to that point, they can kind of take, if they're still working, they can take an in-service distribution. A lot of Gen Xers now are looking to financial advisors to getting some guidance and help because they feel like that the savings are not there, but with where some of them are at, or what studies have shown, they may have to take a little bit more risk in what they're doing with their investments as they get closer to retirement, which is normally not what you want to do. You want to try to be a little bit more conservative, to save, or you don't lose as much. So it may be they really may have to diversify a little bit more to where they have to do some bonds or some stocks, equity, or they may have to look into a little more aggressive or a little more risky venture of private equities. So they may have to look at things like that with where they're going as far as what they can do. But getting some guidance is going to be important for them, for sure. Along with all those other things, because as we mentioned before, the guidance is going to be key for healthcare cost and what they're going to be able to do with that. Because a lot of companies before, with the pension programs, healthcare was built into it, for them. So a lot of companies were still grandfathering people in before the Gen Xers for healthcare costs. So there's a lot of challenges there, but that's a few things they can start doing. But I would really, push them hard to get some guidance, out there and look to talk to somebody and get with a financial advisor, to help them, down that road and put a plan together for these people.
That is great advice. Yeah, there's nothing like professional help, honestly.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. And listeners, if you'd like to know a little bit more about what it's like to work with a financial advisor, and particularly some of our priorities here at Wisdom Financial, you can check out one of our other mini-sodes that Joe and I did all about the topic. I believe that would just be Minisode 2 if you want to go back and listen.
Yeah.
All right. So as, Gen Xers are looking at their investment strategies for this time period in their life, what would you say are like the benefits and challenges of continuing investment strategies into retirement?
Yeah, well, some of the challenges, that they have is, looking at where they're at and just kind of some of the numbers, we mentioned earlier, 40% maybe, don't have any type of savings towards retirement. They may be looking to work a little bit longer, whether it be full-time or part-time. Is a challenge that could be, they may have to, retire a little bit later than than they wanted to. Some are saying 69, normal retirement age right now, or the full retirement 67. They may have to hang on a little bit longer before they start taking Social Security, so they can get that full benefit of Social Security, and obviously try to let their investments grow, or if they're working now and wherever they're working has a 401k plan, start it. Just get that automatic savings going each month or every week, or whatever your payroll schedule is, to take a little bit out each, and just try to get that automatic savings, can be a benefit going for you. It can be challenging if, but working longer and taking a little bit delayed on Social Security, is a challenge. Use that automatic enrollment into a 401k plan. Try to, again, get with an advisor, start getting some guidance, get with them each year, is a really, really good thing, to help. So there's a lot, but the biggest benefit you can do right now for Gen X, just get started. Just start, whether you haven't saved anything or you've saved a little bit or whatever, just get started. Because a lot of Gen Xers right now, challenge wise, and I'm in that generation, and but a lot of Gen Xers are still having to take care of their children, but also taking care of their parents, and that's a huge financial burden. I'm in this group, and I still have two kids in college, and getting through that. Unfortunately, 5 years ago I lost my parents, so I don't have that big financial burden of trying to. What some of the Gen Xers are doing is helping both your children be independent on their parents, but also having to help your own parents and retirement and things like that. That's a huge challenge, but there's things out there you can do. Just get started.
Absolutely. And actually, again, to harken back to a previous episode, when we covered investment strategies 101 for Gen Z, we talked a lot about how they can get started and how actually many of them are. They're super savvy.
Yes.
But if anyone wants some insights into how to get started, what some of your options are, that would be episode, I believe, Minisode 3 that we talked about that if you want to go back and listen.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Is there any other like insights for Gen X that you feel like they should know about in this kind of retirement investment landscape that they're entering into?
Just gather information.
Gather information, so true.
Yes. I mean, yeah. I mean, just as much as they can, whether it's professional help with an advisor or using AI, and you mentioned Gen Zers, and a lot of them are they're not relying on financial advisors, they're relying on AI and different things as far as getting their advice. But whatever it is, just gathering information to help yourself, move forward with where you're at.
Absolutely. No, is there a saying, or am I making this up? It pays to be informed.
Yeah. If it's not out there, that's a good one. Yeah. We should try to copyright that if we can.
That's right. Trademarked right now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Wisdom trademark. Yeah.
All right, well, I will get on that. And
Yeah.
then all of our listeners for gathering information. A great place to start is our website, the Wisdom Financial Management website, www.wisdomchoice.net. We have so many resources, videos, articles, calculators, surveys that you can take that not only help you get started, but help you along the way. You can find all of that in our financial intelligence resources on our website. We have both retirement and investment subcategories to learn more, as well as our weekly newsletter, which not only has monthly market insights, but we do have a quarterly retirement insights focus newsletter as well. And you can find the previous podcast episodes that I mentioned, as well as all the rest and more to come in the special news tab. Again, all of that can be found at www.wisdomchoice.net. And then next week, we are going to be continuing our generational investment topics with estate planning for baby boomers.
All
and that
right.
will be very exciting.
Yes, it will. Yeah.
Round out everyone left except for Gen Alpha, which we are not there yet. I am not ready. I'm not ready to talk about Gen Alpha yet.
It is crazy.
It's absolutely crazy, but we will all make it through, and we will make it through together. Always let us know if you want us to talk about a certain topic or dive deeper into anything. You can let us know on our website, their contact form, or give us a call or send us an email. We are always education first here at Wisdom. We never want to pressure you into talking to us on a service level, but we are absolutely here if you need us to weather current times and the transition points coming up in your life. All right, so thank you so much for talking to me, Joe.
Absolutely enjoyed it.
Me too. All right. Again, you can find everything at www.wisdomchoice.net, and I hope you all have a great day. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to The Final Analysis. We try to keep you informed. Be sure that you're on the email list and call us if you have any questions whatsoever. Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professionals before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a registered broker-dealer, member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and Wisdom Financial Management, LLC are not affiliated.